Drawing a room in one-point perspective is going to start differently than we have in the past. I'm going to use the border of my box, and I'm going to create an X going from corner to corner on each edge of the box. This is going to create my vanishing point because we need our vanishing point to be right in the smack dab middle. From here, I'm going to use this to create my walls. So now I'm going to take my rectangle, my right angle, and I'm going to line it up on the edge, and then I'm going to decide how high or how low I want the box to be that is on the inside. This will become the back wall of a room that we are looking into. Once I've drawn this first line, I'm then, using my right angle, going to take where that line intersects with the orthogonal, and I'm going to make a new line that is going straight up to the next orthogonal. I will do this as I continue around the box, and when I add in the last line, the two should meet correctly. If I did this right, when I line up the right angle, it will always be right there at the right spot as well. The first item that I'm going to put into my room is going to be a door. I'm going to use the right angle to create the left side of the door. Where the door stops, I am then going to connect that as an orthogonal to my vanishing point. This will allow the door to get smaller in perspective. Then, using my triangle, I'm going to create the right side of the door. Notice how the top of the door angles like the edge of the room where the wall meets the ceiling. Then once I've done this, I'm going to go around the door again, and I'm going to create the frame for the door following the exact same steps I just did. Similarly, I'm going to complete the window. I'm using my right angle to create the very far edge of the window that is closest to me as the viewer. Using my right angle, I am then going to create orthogonal lines, but this time I do one for both the top and the bottom edge of the window. Using my right angle again, I create the far end of the window, and this line is going to be parallel to the first line that I made. Once I've created my window, I'm going to the outside edges, and I'm going to create a frame around the edges by following the same exact steps that I did the first time I drew in the window. The flooring is the part of this activity that's a little bit trickier, and it's hard to see what the directions are telling you. The first thing is it's saying is that there are 7 spots along the flooring. So they actually put in 7 dots. So I put in one just below my vanishing point, and then I spaced out 3 more spots on each side of it so that it felt relatively even. I'm not going to go through and actually measure these out. On a big project, I might. For this, I'm not. Then I'm going to take each of those dots, connect it to the orthogonal, and I'm going to draw the line in on the floorboard. In the example, they draw the entire connecting dot all the way from the vanishing point to the edge of the box. I know that I'm going to erase a lot of those lines, so I ended up lining them up and only drawing the bottom portion. You do whichever one makes you feel more comfortable for this step. Final piece of making the checkerboard flooring is a little bit hard to see, but there is a diagonal line that connects the left corner of the floor with the left back corner of the floor with the bottom right corner of the floor. So you're going to see me draw this line in. Wherever this diagonal line intersects with an orthogonal line from the actual floorboard, I'm going to create a parallel line to the actual wall. So look how I line up my triangle. I am drawing a straight line where the two intersect. So I'm looking for the next time the diagonal intersects the second line in the floorboard, and I'm going to draw this line in. I'm continuing this all the way down my page. It does not matter if you start in the back or if you start in the front when you do this, but when you are finished, you will notice that you will have the same number of boxes going backwards as you do from left to right because of the way we did the diagonal. It also will mean that the parts of the checkerboard that are closest to the viewer are going to be larger, and the parts of the checkerboard that are further away from the viewer are going to be smaller because of the way perspective works and fools our eyes. So I want you to go through this and take the time to make that diagonal because it makes a huge difference in the completion of your floorboard and creating a checkerboard pattern that will actually look correct to the viewer and fool their eye into believing this is a 3-dimensional space.